Thank you very much for joining us in this webinar focusing on smart tourism and future challenges. This webinar is co-organized by Atlas, Ambis University and University of Girona. My name is Alžbeta Királova, and I am an associated professor and vice rector for international affairs at the Ambis University in Prague. Together with Silvia Olet, a professor from the University of Girona, we will be the event's moderators. First of all, I would like to introduce Tara Duncan, senior lecturer at Dalarna University, Sweden. Tara is a chair of the Association for Tourism and Leisure Education and Research and will introduce Atlas. Tara, the floor is yours. Tara, you are muted.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Elżbieta. Apologies, I forgot to unmute myself, as always with technology. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today for this Atlas student webinar. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great day. As Elżbieta said, my name is Tara Duncan. I'm a professor in tourism studies at Dalarna University, which is about 3 hours north of Stockholm in Sweden. And I'm the chair of Atlas. So Atlas is an association. We are actually celebrating our 30th anniversary this year, and we're an association of tourism researchers, tourism practitioners, students, and industry representatives. And the association is about opportunities to network, opportunities to learn and grow, and to thrive in this fascinating industry, even in these difficult times. Atlas has chapters around the world. We have chapters in Latin America, in Asia, in Oceania, in Africa, and around Europe. We hold an annual Atlas annual conference. This year, Ambis are going to be hosting it. Unfortunately, we're having to do it online rather than going to visit wonderful Prague, but hopefully we'll be able to go and visit them in person soon. We also have a number of special interest groups, everything from business tourism to volunteer tourism, climate change, visual methodologies in tourism. But we'll also, and what really we're focusing on today is our student chapter. And what we are really keen on promoting is students of tourism and opportunities for them to engage with industry, with academics, and with what's going on with tourism at the moment. So this event is a great event. We look forward to the speakers today. Please make sure to post your questions in the chat on YouTube, and we'll make sure that the speakers get your questions and we'll be able to have a discussion at the end. So I think that's it from me, and I will hand back to Elżbieta and Silvia, our two moderators. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tara. Now allow us to introduce shortly our universities. Silvia, please.
Thank you, Tara. So as Elżbieta. So as Elżbieta mentioned, my name is Silvia Olet. I'm professor at the Faculty of Tourism of the University of Girona. The University of Girona was the first public university in Catalonia to offer tourism studies. And the Faculty of Tourism was the first faculty devoted to this area in Spain. Today, our faculty has around 2,000 students with 2 bachelor degrees and 3 master programs, including an Erasmus Mundus in tourism management. The Faculty of Tourism is academic member of the Network of European Regions for Sustainable and Competitive Tourism, named NextTour, also member of the Atlas Association, the UNESCO UNITWIN Network Culture, Tourism and Development, the Association for Future for Religious Heritage, and the Spanish network Reading Tour. So we are involved in different projects, both European projects and cooperation projects. So thank you very much, Elżbieta. The floor is yours again.
Thank you very much. So let me introduce our university. Ambis University is a private, modern and professional university situated in Prague, Czech Republic. Currently, Ambis, with its almost 4,600 students in bachelor and master programs, is the most significant private university in the Czech Republic. Ambis is an affiliate member of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, an academic member of the Network of European Regions for Sustainable and Competitive Tourism, member of the Association of Tourism and Leisure Education and Research, and founding member of World Tourism Network. To start our webinar, let me introduce the topic. Digital technologies have brought significant transformation to the tourism industry, revolutionizing tourism enterprises, product and experiences, business ecosystems, and destinations. Digitalization has also transformed the traditional role of tourism producers and consumers with new functions, relationships, business models, and competencies emerging. The use of technologies has resulted in a tourism offer that is more attractive, efficient, inclusive, and economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable than its presenters. Some significant impacts on the sector are smart travel facilitations, smart destinations, a new wave of job profiles, and a positive environmental impact. We believe that the presentations who our guest speakers will give today will help you students for your future career path. I hope that it will be inspiring and useful for all of us. Now I would like to ask Sylvia to introduce our first speaker. Sylvia, please.
Thank you. Our first speaker this afternoon is Paul Fages-Ramió. Paul Fages is a professional in the tourism sector with more than 20 years of experience in different fields, like accommodation, business advice, destination, and travel agency. Since 2008, he has been the founder and general manager of Turismon, advising to different companies and tourist destinations through development plans for white tourism, strategic tourism plans, tourism competitiveness plans for different municipalities. So Turismon is a receptive agency specialized in cultural and nautical tourism. And through this travel agency, they have created different itineraries to discover different places and unique heritage in the area of Girona and in Catalonia. So in April 2015, Turismon Travel was selected in the Startup DMC tourism program by the Catalan Tourism Agency. And in July 2019 has participated in different innovation programs. And what Paul Fages is going to explain is the current experience after the COVID pandemic and the actual situation of the travel agency, and also he's involved in a guide association. So Paul, thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, everyone. Well, welcome to this session, this virtual session. Thanks God, next year we can repeat this in one of the university and doing it presentially. I want to share with you, if I can, some slides in order to explain you briefly in two minutes how we worked since March 2020, no? Since 15th of March 2020, or could say probably in February we start thinking that the things will change, not the time and how what happens after March 2020, that here in Spain 16th of March we have the lockdown. So I will share you this presentation. If someone can confirm that you will see this. Our main claim is La vida son ratitos. Life is a small moments, no? And always try to show and share pictures and places, hidden places to our clients, no? We always work as an artisans, no? We are based in Girona, Girona area. And we developed in these years Turismon as incoming agency. Girona Guide Services is all the official guides around our service, our company, and also Costa Rica service, because we love our sea, we love Mediterranean, we love to sail, and we want that all our clients that comes to Costa Brava don't miss a sailing day, no? And also doing services for the cruises and the cruise passengers, no? Basically, we are one of the incoming agencies that offers different excursions, different activities and itineraries. And with this, since July 2019, we did a lot of excursions, and now in 2021 we will offer new activities, new services for all these companies. We are a teamwork of the core business. No? We are these 5 people that always are thinking what we can do to our clients, and the little moments are the ones that we want that they remember. No, always we find it's pictures like this. No, it's we do a sailing tour or participate in a sailing race. Myself is the one in the yellow, but behind me is the one of our clients that participate in a local sail race. No, then the kids, no, always trying to find and to receive a smile from our clients, create special moments, always with passion, emotion, innovation. But this is the best picture we ever did in our times. Is one of our US citizen from New York, from Manhattan, that was in October 2019. And that was the moment after working around the Camino de Ronda, the local pathway. He stayed there for approximately half an hour just looking at the sea. So we create these things. So this guy is stays in Costa Brava presently. The smiles, the protagonist always is our client. We try to offer different options, but this finish in March 2020. And in Monday 19th of March, all our teamwork decides, well, what we need to do, what we can do. So we decide, and I will show you a 2-minute video, and we decide to do our visits and our activities, and we call it tourism from the sofa. And tourism from the sofa is virtual tours, but with a guide in town and a guide in the back office, showing our destination to everyone. And since April, we started with the virtual tours. In July 2020, we started with other virtual tours. In December, we created like a Christmas present to do these virtual tours from your sofa. We decided in 2021 offer these options to our existing clients, and as you can see my pictures, the existing client is the cruises, and we call it this product tourism from the cabin, because we know and we want that the clients and the cruises will arrive to our towns, to Palamos, for example, in Costa Brava. They will arrive there. Some of them, they will go to some of the excursions that we prepared. Some other ones, they want to stay on the cruise and they will go down to the town and visit the town, of course. But other ones will go to, they will stay on the cruise, no? So finally, these people that stay on the cruise, probably they want to see our towns, and we'll offer tourism from the cabin. And now, if I can, I will share with you, if I know how to do it. Sorry, no. Want to share another screen? No. Well, I want to share with you. Sorry. Well. Let's say no. I want to show you a video on how we do it in our activities. but I'm sorry. The idea, let's see if I can do it like this. No. So, why not?
Sometimes it would help to open the application first and then share screen.
It's a YouTube video. Oh, well, it's a YouTube video.
Yeah, then you can open on your browser the YouTube and then.
Yeah, it's open, but now
Okay.
I don't know if it appears. No, it not appears in the share sound or videos. Oh yeah, sorry, here. Could you see it?
Not yet, but I hear it. Oh yeah, there it is.
Well, it's in Catalan. The idea is we created this. We create this tourist from the sofa. We use Zoom. As you can see,
Perhaps you can say something about it because the sound is really low.
So that's it's a 2-minute video, but the idea is we always have one guide on town explaining the different resources and different attractions, and another guide in a back office that complements with other information. And finally, it's an open platform, so we interact with the clients and we do in a Q&A. So in times of you need to improve, you need to make a lot of efforts in thinking about what do you have, no? Which resources, which attractions you have, what the people needs, and the people needs to refresh their mind. The people needs to open their mind. The people wants to travel, but they cannot travel. But we'll help them to travel to our destination. How? In a virtual tours, in a virtual activities, in a virtual team buildings that we are offering to corporate companies. So we use the technology. We use the technology to present our offer, our destination, and our products and our services in order that as soon as they can come back or they can come for the first time, we will be more than welcome and we'll be more than delighted to give them a big hug and say thank you to come to our destination, thank you to choose our services, and we will be here to make La Vida Son Ratitos. That's all. If anyone have questions, I'll be delighted to answer.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much. Of course, please, dear participants, if you have questions, do not forget to post it to chat, and we will have time after all presenters will present. We will have time for questions and answer session. Our next speaker is Richard Walter from the company Muse. Richard is an entrepreneur and ex-hotelier with an extensive background in hotel investment and management. Richard was educated at UCL in London before returning to his native Czech Republic. He, here in Czech Republic, became a project manager for a number of property developments, culminating in the creation of the Emblem Hotel. The idea of Muse originated from his time spent leading the concept development, design, procurement, and project management of the Prague-based luxury hotel, where he experienced an inadequacies of traditional hotel management systems firsthand. Richard, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone. I hope that my my technology doesn't let me down. Hi everyone. I'm just going to tell you a few things about where I think the world of hospitality and tourism are kind of going. And just as a first, I'll just share my screen so that you can see, hopefully, this. So I hope everyone can see my screen. But essentially, you know, we at Muse, so just about us. So I started Muse in 2012. We're rated as one of the top tech companies in hospitality. Basically, we now have, actually, this is a little bit outdated. I think we're on about almost 300 employees. Still mainly in Prague, London, Amsterdam, New York. Which is where I'm sitting, and we have a great leadership team from, you know, either kind of tourist or hospitality companies like Hilton, places like Sabre, but then also with a lot of really great tech talent as well. So, you know, for Czech people, we have people from companies like Seznam, but then increasingly we have a lot of really great talent that's come over to us from, you know, places like the Weather Channel and places like PayPal. We raised 33 million in our Series B, which I think, if you compare it to this year, it seems like a pretty low amount that most other companies are raising. But it's been great to have used that money to basically try and accelerate I guess basically the way that technology goes into hotels. And there, along with me, you can see my business partner Matt, and we really kind of run the company together. So what's our mission? It's to create transformational solutions for brands and remarkable experiences for their guests. And that's really something that we think that, you know, technology can be a huge driver of. So roughly, this is where we're at in the world. So we've always pushed ourselves, you know, coming from a small country in the middle of Europe, we've always pushed ourselves basically to as many different places in the world. There are places that are restricted just by the virtue of you know, their kind of local laws and things like that. But we've, you know, travel and hospitality is a global effort. So, you know, for us, we also need to be global as well. So I think with this, it's maybe a good way to talk about, you know, where we've gone through. So we started off with a lot of independent hotels. We then went to a lot of lifestyle brands, and now we work with some of the biggest brands in the world. I think chief amongst them is, for example, Accor. But so, you know, what types of really great, I just wanted to highlight maybe two of the types of concepts that we're working with, because I think the main thing to consider is that, you know, right now, there is no such thing as a single kind of monolithic type of hotel. So, you know, we love this client of ours, which is called the Student Hotel, which basically is a concept that is fundamentally about 4 different businesses all in one. It's student lodging. So some of you guys might know it basically from different places, but it also has an element to it. So when the students go for the summer, basically it gets they turn into a hostel. They also have co-working for basically the students themselves, but they also will look at ways that they can actually kind of reuse those spaces to offer up to the local community. And it's this idea that I think is really going to be one of the key drivers after the pandemic, which is going to be that, you know, the idea of tourism for tourists and hotels for tourists, basically, I think that will start to crumble, and you'll see a lot more kind of innovative types of concepts that basically invade some of these properties that perhaps were kind of unutilized. I think we at Muse have this idea that, you know, there shouldn't be a property in the world that has, you know, 50% occupancy. We should really think about how to maximize every single space, because something can happen in those spaces. And that's really the power of the technology that we provide, is that, you know, any single provider of space can basically choose to run it as a co-working site, as a hotel, as a hostel, as, you know, any type of business at the same time. Or whenever they feel like. So, you know, you might have a single type of property in the spring, and a completely different type of property or a completely type of business that you're actually kind of offering in the summer. And so that's one. On the other side, we have something which I really like, which is, for example, this, you know, luxury retreat concept that's sprung up in the US, where essentially they just basically get a lot of these different types of Airstream cabins, and they essentially kind of make a hotel in the woods. So, you know, you don't need to kind of see the monolithic type of hotel as the only type of, let's say, hotel that will be here. You can see it distributed, and it doesn't really matter if you've got those distributed hotel rooms in the woods, or if you're actually kind of, you know, creating a hotel out of 600 Airbnbs that you might want to actually have all around the city. So, you know, for us, everything can be hospitality, and everything can be a space that's used for this type of thing. So we think about the product principles of basically how do we actually kind of create this. So, you know, we came out back in 2014, I think it was, with an online check-in. So that basically meant that, you know, people could fill in all of their details, put in their credit card details and things like that before, you know, fill out the registration card. So when they actually arrived, the only thing that they'd get is like a QR code or a PIN code, for example, for their room. And those are one of the kind of the many innovations that we try and bring. So if I go back to the original thought behind the company, the idea really was to make sure that we can automate everything in the back end. So it wasn't just basically that I didn't want a reception desk, but I also didn't really want a back end in the hotel. So I think, you know, as many of you who are students, you should really ask yourself this question about technology. You know, technology, I think, is primarily there to basically take away the really crap parts of work, which are usually the repetitive tasks, the manual entry things, the things that are fundamentally quite boring to do, and that they take a lot of time. So basically, so when you arrive at a hotel, you know, if you think about a check-in process taking maybe 10 minutes, 7 of those minutes are just, they're not adding in value. What's adding in value is, for example, you saying hello, you asking where that person's from, you telling that person that there's a great party on tonight, or that they should really go and see this bridge by the sunset. That's value added. You know, asking for the passport, for the credit card number, to fill out some kind of form, that is not value added. Like, that's basically just something that the technology should be able to do. And that's the same thing with a lot of those back end jobs, basically. So if you think about, you know, your career and what you're going to do, think about the two aspects of, I think, what drives tourism. On the one side, it's improving the guest experience, it's improving the discoverability of the town, and it's also making sure that we ultimately drive towards a greater human-to-human exchange. So anything that we can take off as admin, and any role that exists is purely an admin role. So, you know, that can be a housekeeping supervisor, or it can be a revenue manager or something like that. Those things are better left to the computers. So yeah, so how do we do that? We think the whole way that a hotel operates, you have to kind of rethink the data around it. And you have to really kind of rethink the way that you think about these things, basically. So that comes in through, products like Muse Analytics that we have, creating a single customer view across an entire chain, but also creating a lot of these things like leaderboards where you can basically kind of say, this hotel versus this hotel, this employee versus this employee. And you're basically kind of trying to see, what is the leaderboard of productivity that you can see across all of your properties and all of the different places. So I just really, really wanted to kind of maybe round out with some bigger thoughts basically around it. So, these types of monolithic structures that you see in hotels, I think that what we're seeing now is an acceleration of that kind of death. I don't think that brands will go away. I think we'll just see basically like a slow evolution. And I'm just not sure that these types of monolithic creations are going to be what's with us basically in the next, 10 years or so. I think what you have to remember basically what hospitality and tourism is fundamentally it's an exchange, and it's an exchange of gifts. So you're giving the gift of discovery in a certain place, but you're also kind of giving the gift of hospitality, which, for example, if you think of where the economy starts and where you think of basically like where the first ideas of money actually emerge, it's from gift giving. So if you think about this basically also from a slightly different point of view, you need to kind of think about, when is there a need for hospitality and tourism, and how is that different to the way that we kind of live our life? So I have a daughter, she's called Matilda, and the idea here basically that I'm trying to show is that the pinks that you can see are basically time that I spend on business and maybe business trips. Green is basically when I, for example, would go on a leisure trip. So between me and my daughter, there's going to be a lot of kind of different things. But I think what you'll see a lot differently is that you'll see a lot of companies that think about bundling that up. So I think that, one of the greatest companies basically that I think exists today is, for example, something like Netflix. And what I love about Netflix is that they can think in these kinds of, software as a service model. So you pay a certain fee, and for that fee, basically, that's actually kind of what gives you access. So wouldn't it be great to basically have these types of subscription models that you're then able to actually just access whatever room at whatever time, rather than having to pay a one-time transaction fee for any of those different things. And you can think about them basically in terms of, who you're going to be paying this money to. So in the nearer term, it might be Accor for all of your business needs, and you might be paying Airbnb a subscription for all of your kind of leisure needs. But in the future, you might think of it as basically that might be something that you actually pay to a banking partner, and they kind of take care of both of your leisure, your working, and your business needs. So it might be somebody like Revolut in the future. So it's in the same way that you should really think about, when you're thinking about tourism and space, you should think about basically kind of attributing the right things. Right now in hotels, one of the biggest problems is that we attribute everything to a room. So you always say, what's the average daily rate for a room? What's the revenue per occupied room or per available room? And those types of things should actually kind of go, because what you should be doing is attributing a lot more value to where it's created. So for example, saying hello to a customer that's just come in from an airplane, that's value addition. Them going to a bed, that's something that's actually kind of expected value already, and you're just maintaining the fact that it's basically the same. I think that pretty soon we'll all be thinking about cities as resorts. And this will be one of the things that we kind of try and strive for. So try and think about basically those types of recommendation algorithms and things like that. And then thinking about, what we think of as privacy, you might start thinking about it much, much more as basically kind of, in a data-driven way, but also in a privacy-driven way, to basically make sure that, you're only interacting with the types of identities that a customer is happy, for example, sharing. And then thinking about, for example, like the types of service and the types of service delivery, in the bottom right corner, you can see basically it's an American football map. The thing that I like about it is basically that we should really, really quickly see, what we're actually doing in hospitality and in tourism in general, from a point of view of basically, that there's an offense side, which is the tourist, which is, they're trying to basically get something out of a situation, and the defense side, which is us providers. And I think for that, we should really think in terms of these algorithms. What are the best ways to, if a guest wants this, what's the best way for them to actually kind of get it? It's the same thing for our services as well. We shouldn't really kind of think about, the room per rate, but basically the type of price per experience, or the price per good experience that we've been able to actually kind of facilitate. So from that perspective, you want to create those kind of memorable moments, and again, in that way, actually create certain types of loyalty loops, that by giving somebody a great memory of your town and of your city, or even kind of, as my colleague before was saying, giving them a good way to think about basically like where they're actually going to. So you're creating this kind of lifetime loyalty loop of a particular city. You make Prague a part of somebody's life, and you basically make sure that it's basically on a loyalty loop, and you start adding in maybe other cities as well. So you try and think about, how can we get away from tourism being a one-time thing to actually being something that we can try and create a loyalty to an entire city, not just basically to our hotel. And then from these things, the way that we think about the guest journey is basically, standard one is something like this. And the way that it should be is basically that you should be thinking about, what are the best times that you can actually kind of, create trust. And then that, for example, leads to more money spent. So thinking about, when have I created the most amount of trust, for this tourist, and how is that the best way to activate a lot of the additional services that they're buying from us. So I think that was pretty much my presentation. I hope that it's useful for some of you to think through. And and good luck, coming out of this pandemic all in one piece.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Richard. Please don't forget to post your questions if you have some. And now I would like to ask Silvia to introduce our next speaker. Silvia, please.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Edgar Terrés. Edgar defines himself as mindful hacker. He is professor of well-being and happiness at the University of Girona and collaborates with different other universities and training institutions like Hostelea, the University of Beira Interior in Portugal, the UNED Pontevedra, and the University of Vigo. He is co-founder of the Institut del Silenci, the Institute of Silence, and he is mindful travel consultant and designer of well-being experience for groups and organizations. And today he's going to explain his experience also of trying to adapt to these new difficult times. So thank you, Edgar, for being with us.
Thank you, Silvia, very much. And thank you, everybody, for inviting me and this nice meeting. Well, yes, as Silvia explained, now I'm developing lots of different projects everywhere. This is what I like. But now I'm going to explain the project we call the Present Experience, Present XP, in which, it is what happened when we realized that everything concerning the COVID-19, the lockdown, the pandemic, this terrible disaster, it has come. And Paul before explained, the situation they came across with COVID-19. I'm not going to explain the same, and I think that most of us, we were in the same situation. With the Institute of Silence, in which what we want is to explain the value of the silence in order to give well-being and creativity, nowadays, which is very important. We are used to prepare, organize well-being experiences in the nature, also for organizations, for tourism, for everything. And of course, we couldn't do anything, presentially. Everything was, stopped, canceled, postponed, everything. And we have a friend of ours, which he has also a business organization called Desconnections, in which they, they were in the same situations. And we were talking, why we don't try to do something? Okay, and now I'm going to share something. Here it is. Okay. Okay, I think you can see. Let me, if I can. Yes. Okay. We built, this box. Let me say that we wanted to do to find a way that people can keep on, experiencing the nature, but of course they couldn't go. So we found a way in which they could experience nature at home. But we didn't want to betray, our values. We believe in sensory experience. We believe in what happens inside. So of course, the first thing was to, okay, let's prepare some videos, some things to explain nature. But we said, but that's not fair, because nature is, it's touching, it's smelling, it's tasting, it's watching, it's listening. It's our senses are fulfilled with lots of different sensations. And of course we cannot do that with just technology. So we were thinking how to mix sensory senses and also technology. In the Institute of Silence, we believe that what we need now, it is well-being and creativity in order to be happy. Why? Because a society, it's developing in a way that technology is increasing very much. It is very useful for our health, but paradoxically, our well-being is decreasing. The more health we have, but also the well-being is decreasing because we have more stress, we feel more anxiety, depression are, we can find everywhere, a lot of people suffering for that, also because of the technology. So from the Institute of Silence, we want to develop projects and products and services which go in that direction. And we believe that through our, sense, using, how our brain works, we can do lots of nice things. For instance, as you can see here, feeling, that experience next to the sea with that Tibetan bowls, with mindfulness, with mindfulness techniques, having a very deep experience. As we realized that, with the lockdown, we couldn't do such things as you can see in here, mindfulness in front of the beach, concerts, in the sea, concerts in the forest, classes, in front of the sea. We decided to do that thing that we are saying. Okay, how can we prepare an experience in which technology and sensory mix together? And what we did was that box. It was something that we went really fast. It was in 2 weeks was done everything. And what has that box? It's very interesting because it's nothing. Here you have a box, a bag, which full of coconut fiber, in which you can read tacto, which means touch, another box with intuition, and just, 2 tea bags. And with that, we also prepare, an audio guide in which I was preparing, a promenade, in the forest, with different sounds from the forest. I was, also recording all a mindfulness session, also with Tibetan bowls. And the idea is that the people get that box. They put, you see that the box, this is something like a pizza box, more or less, so you can imagine. And people, throw the coconut fiber into the box. They remove shoes, remove socks, put the feet inside the box so they can feel it. It's like, walking in the forest with leaves, the ground. You prepare your tea. So you have, the smelling, the taste. You have that, touching with your feet. You have that intuition that during the experience you have to open because you don't know what there is inside. And inside there is, how it is, a piece of cork, Of course, you have your eyes blind and you have, and our brain, our sense, it works, from the information from outside. So if you turn off your eyes and in your ears you have the sound of birds, of water, of steps on the ground, you have a voice telling you how to breathe, how to what you have to imagine. You have the sound of Tibetan bowls, of gongs, for 40 minutes more or less. And also in the middle of the, the experience, you have to open with your eyes closed, you have to open that intuition. And then you have, you are touching something. So for 40 minutes, all your senses are, let's say, kidnapped, they are, removed from where you are. So you don't have information, but, what comes inside the box. And we were trying this, the test, was very nice. And we made, how it is, a Christmas, campaign. And it was amazing because we sell a lot, a lot of people saw that as a gift, as a Christmas gift. And said, okay, that's nice because we are offering a well-being experience as if they were in nature, but of course they can go. This was the main idea. And of course, after that, after Christmas, we could do something, presentially, and we forgot because, in fact, we did that because we needed, to survive. What we do, it is everything presential. We realize, how weakly we were. If something happened, we developed a product in which we didn't betray what we believe. Not only rely on technology, but how to mix technology. How to find the soul of technology, so we don't forget the basics, what we have inside it. This is what we work all the time. And we realized that what we first thought it was experience for somebody, then some companies asked if they could buy some in order to do like a team building. And then we changed and offered that as a team building experience because we, the whole group mixed together through Zoom, of course, using technology, but all of them, they had the same box. So all together, they were, feeling sensory things, but we could talk to each other as if we were in the middle of the forest, of course, more or less, But then we realized also that in Ribeira Sacra in Galicia, they are in the process to become a World Heritage Site, and sorry, and a lot of people went there in winter, and they asked if they could buy some boxes, but changing the sounds, changing the narrative, changing the images and everything with the packaging. So they wanted to send Ribeira Sacra to some special people. because they couldn't go there, but they wanted to feel. So we changed, you know, the products that they go inside. We arrange everything so they sell Ribeira Sacra. And the thing is that, you know, 15 people could experience Ribeira Sacra, you know, at their own home. So the idea it is, why not maybe thinking, you know, of tourism board, you know, organizations, or even, you know, destinations, the whole destination. For instance, here I'm thinking of how it is. I'm thinking of La Rioja, you know, special, you know, winery site. Why not explain a place through the sensations? We can always send a video, we can always send photograph, but why not, you know, send something that people can experience the site in his own way, you know? And now we are thinking what to do, you know? The first thing, you know, as I said before, it was a solution for something, you know, very concrete. But now we are thinking to develop that, you know, as a marketing product, as communication, as team building product, and also, as we were in the beginning, you know, just an experience so people can enjoy nature if they can go. Of course, we don't want to exchange nature for that. We always have to go there. We have to enjoy to being outdoor, enjoy, you know, the benefits of the trees, of the sea, you know, the clean air. This is what we need. But, you know, sometimes we have to do something different in order to feel more or less the same. And that's all. Thank you very much for the time, and hope you have some nice questions for later.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Edgar and Silvia. Now I would like to introduce you our next speaker. Our next speaker is Mariana Vigova. Mariana is Director of Commerce at My Stay company. She is responsible for sales, communication with accommodation facilities, and processes within commerce. She comes from Slovakia, where she graduated in European Cultural Studies. She has been living in Prague for a long time, where her love for hospitality began. Through the hotel positions in a 4-star hotels to hotel partnership management and software solution for hotels such as My Stay. She loves history, art, music, and loves to travel. Mariana, the floor is yours, please.
Elżbieta, thank you very much. Thank you very much for a nice introduction. So I would love to start with my presentation right now. So I just want to share the screen. I hope you can see it, and I will start. I absolutely enjoy standing in a queue for 15 minutes to fill out the check-in form, pay, and get the room key. Said no guest ever. So welcome again on the online webinar, and it's my honor, and I'm really happy to be here with you and tell you more about the My Stay and the contactless hotel for the post-COVID times. But before I start to talk about the hospitality and automation and digitization in a hospitality field, I would love to present you a great idea which already exists in a food industry, where we can see the process of the automation. In the recent past, the trade has taken place in the markets or colonials, as you can see on the pictures. Also, there were small stores with mixed goods, and also there are some supermarkets where you can already see the self-service cash registers. Why are they the cash registers? Because of the queues. As you can see on these pictures, I'm really sorry for that last person on the picture, because the man, he really wants to pay for the toilet paper, but he can't because he has to waste the time in the line, and this is really what should be and what has to be automated. So the first point to the automation in the supermarkets was, for example, these self cash registers. As a next step, in an automation in a food industry was and is on another level when we are talking about Amazon Go, just walk out groceries. What is it and how it works? Imagine that you have just an application or app in your phone. You just walk into the grocery store. You can grab or take everything what you want to, and you just walk out. Thanks to the app and sensor fusion, the process in the shop is speeder. So there is no wasting time where you have to wait for the cashier, where you want to pay for the goods. Everything is running smoothly through your phone, where you can already pay for the goods just through phone. Same similarity and this development of automation I can see also in the aviation industry, because of so many years ago we had to do online check-in at the airport in a person, where we wasted time, we spend a lot of time for the check-in at the airport. And now the processes are automated because you have ability to do online check-in through your phone, through your mobile device, let's say 24 hours before departure. So this is where we can see the automation, and where the automation and digitization of the processes can help us. But what about the hospitality? When we are talking about the hospitality, we have to know and remember that during the COVID, the hospitality was hit and 100%. Yeah, the hotels are struggling. Some of them are closed, some of them are open. As you can see here, the hotel occupancy right now or during these days is max 5%. Then the economical loss only in the travel industry was more than $950 billion, as well as 20 million plus people, they lost their job in a hospitality. Also some technical and some facts about the reception operations. 5 minutes takes to proceed check-in at the reception. Also 14 minutes, it's average time spent on the one guest at the reception desk. So because of these facts, we really need to help and solve the situation with the hospitality, because the hotels are struggling, and not even small apartments, everyone, each hotel, each accommodation facility. And thanks to the automation and digitalization, we believe that in less than 5 years, we completely changed the concept of the receptions. What to do and what is the next step when we are talking about this complete change of the concept of the reception and guest access? The first thing is to listen the requirements of the guests, because the guests are already started with this change. People are asking, or the guests in 85% are asking for the contactless check-in. And what about the hotels? My name is Mariana, as Alžbeta introduced me, and it's a pleasure for me to be with you here and to tell you more about us, about the MyStay, who we are and what we do. MyStay is it's 5-in-1 solution. It's a global communication tool that connects the accommodation facilities with their guests right after reservation and makes the reception processes contactless. Our solution is user-friendly, not only for the hotels, but also for the guests. And our solution 5-in-1 allows the hotels to communicate with their guests before stay, during stay, after stay. Also provide online digital check-in, send stay-related information. The hotel can promote and upselling their own services or the services of the third parties also. Thanks to these visibility and promotion, they can earn money. They can also increase the revenue, and also it provides online checkout. The MyStay is stop upselling and check-in software according to the hotel tech report, and also we are cooperating with so many property management systems, and we're still growing, as you can see in the list is Muse also. So thank you very much for a nice presentation, Richard. It was a pleasure to be with you here. And yes, so when we are talking about the changing the behavior of the guests after the COVID, as I mentioned before, it's very important to listen to clients' needs, because thanks to the clients, the hotel can run. This behavior has changed during the COVID, of course, because people are afraid and they are asking for online solution. Let's say in a check-in, checkout, ordering services. On this graph, you can see the situation before April 20, when the COVID was started, let's say here in Prague. And after the April is the curve higher, because there is the really, really high, the all questions or the there is the increase of the contactless solution in a check-in, checkout, also upselling, which increased by eight times, so 800%. And also the hoteliers needs to know that, because if they don't know this, they never do the change, because the people, they want to do online check-in, let's say, but the hotel is not using it, let's say, yeah. And also our system is user-friendly, as I said, but it's not only for the millennials, let's say, or for young people. As you can see on this graph, the strongest groups age groups who are working with our online solution are from 20 years to 60 years. So it's really easy to use for all people. They can go to the hotel and they can easily do online check-in from the comfort of the living room and get all important information about the hotel, as well as to buy, for example, some service or additional activity. And why should these hotels do this change? Because it's not only because of the safe environment or safe space there has to be built for the clients, but also they want to save money in case of the smaller properties, or they can make money for the bigger properties when we are talking about upselling, or in case that some owner has really small apartment and they don't have time to do this, they can use our contactless solution in e-key, for example, or online check-in and so on. There is the question, how to build modern reception, what to do, gradually automate and digitalize. How to do that? With MyStay, we have 3 main steps, and we believe that if we have to do, even if in our personal lives, we need to do any change, we need to go step by step, not all together, but step by step. So first step is reception automation. Includes
Mariana,
we have the
problem with your
yes?
sound. It was some problem with your sound.
Okay, and can you hear me?
Now it's better, yes.
It's better. Okay, thank you very much, Elżbieta. So regarding the processes, how to automate all of these processes at the hotel and the change the reception. First of all is automated communication. Thanks to the automated communication, the hotels can be in touch with their guests pre-arrival, during stay, or after stay, where is the really high open rate in 85%, and the guests can get the right information in the right time. Thanks to this communication, the guests are able to do online check-in. So instead of paper form and waiting at the reception, they can do it easily from their mobile devices or tablets or computers. We are a web app, so there is no need to download any apps. Also included to the check-in, we have the scan of the IDs, agree with the terms and conditions. The whole registration card is personalized by the hotel, because a hotel knows how to communicate with the guests and what exactly they need or required from the clients. When we are talking about the checkout process, there we have the processes closely related to the billing and the payments. So the guests are able from the computers or mobile phone or tablets to issue online bill or check the bills or divide the bills. And we are able to save the 4 minutes per person. Also very famous add-on, which is famous on the hospitality market right now, are the check-in kiosks. The kiosk is very easy hardware software solution, has the tablet only or tablet with the key dispenser optional, where the guests are able to issue the card. Let's say there is small apartment house where is no night reception shift. So me as a guest, I have the light check-in, so I can do online check-in through my phone. I can pay for the accommodation. I can get all information about the hotel, and when I arrive to the hotel, I can issue the key without the receptionists. And last point is to increase the revenue and the collecting data about the clients. It's very for the hotels, it's very important to be visible. Yeah, visible. They want to be visible because when they're visible, they're able to promote the services, they're able to promote the activities. Thanks to the promotion, they can earn money and they can increase the revenue. Thanks to my stay, they can do it by themselves. It's up to them which one information would be promoted, and also thanks to the guest preferences, the hotel knows what exactly to promote to Mariana when Mariana is traveling, let's say, with the family and with the kids. On the end, there is my favorite sentence, unlock your receptionist in your receptionist. I really love to use this sentence during my e-meetings or e-calls with my clients. I know that all of this presentation is about automation and digitization of the processes, but don't forget about the receptionists. We don't want to take the job to the receptionists. We know that the receptionists are the key persons or people at the reception and in the hotel, because they're responsible for the first touch with the client. But thanks to these administration, which could be automated with contactless solution, they are not able to provide right hospitality. So the hoteliers, they need to understand these, that the front office managers are very important, are very smart. They can speak fluently in so many languages, and they're very helpful, and they can just talk to the people. That's very important. And thanks to automation, they can do their job again. On the end, I would love to say that it's very important not to be afraid of the change. We know that COVID took us a lot, but also gave us a lot. So I believe that the acceleration of the guest journey and the hospitality will be faster. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mariana. Thank you very much. Now I want to pass the word to Sylvia, who will introduce our next speaker. Sylvia, please.
So thank you. Our next speaker is Albert Sierra Regera from the Catalan Cultural Heritage Agency of the Department of Culture. Albert Sierra's degree in Geography and History, and he is responsible of the area of new technologies in the above-mentioned board of the Cultural Heritage Agency. This agency is developing an innovative program named Giravolt 3D, aiming at the digitalization of heritage. This program was born to promote the use of three-dimension scanning technology and the treatment of the resulting models within the Catalan cultural heritage sector. And it's an example of a collaborative and transversal initiative. So Albert, thank you for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, and everyone. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this webinar. I will not talk specifically about tourism, but about cultural heritage recording technique that can have some impact in tourism too. In all the cultural future forecasting that we can read in the last years, we saw two big technologies as key roles for the change and the evolution of culture in the next 5 to 10 years. One is obviously big data and artificial intelligence. And the second one is the 3D technologies, 3D from capturing and reproducing the real world in a virtual environment. And after the COVID times, there is a third technology that has shown a tremendous power, that is telepresence. Telepresence as what we are doing now, participating from different countries in the same virtual place. I will share my screen, and you will see. Okay. here, just for the first screen, we can take the same. Okay. The Giro program was, as has been said, is an initiative of the cultural minister of Catalonia, and is developed in 4 different actions. One, and the main action, is publishing a digital corpus of 3D models on the internet. We will see them in a few minutes. The second one is working with the professional heritage sector, in which you will see what we are doing with them. We have a lot of museums involved in this initiative. The third one is working with schools and universities. We think that educational sector can get a lot of advantages from these new techniques. And the fourth line of work is promoting the 3D heritage models that are already done in use in very different fields of work, for example, tourism, or for example, research, or maybe even multimedia art. I will show you a little video about 1 minute. Let me share audio too. Okay. That explains with the English subtitles our program, and you can see some images about it.
Capgirem la forma en què vivim el nostre patrimoni cultural. I ho fem gràcies a les noves tecnologies 3D, que en els últims anys han creat experiències visuals immersives i sorprenents. Però ara és el moment de donar-li una altra volta. Literalment. Així neix Giravolt, una veritable experiència global en 3D per al nostre patrimoni. Un programa format per 4 eixos vertebradors. Per primer cop, les millors obres del patrimoni cultural català seran accessibles en 3D des de qualsevol lloc del món. Una gran galeria en línia on conflueixen el passat, el present i el futur d'aquest patrimoni. La digitalització arribarà als museus i entitats patrimonials d'arreu del país en un gran projecte basat en l'aprenentatge en directe. Cada digitalització es transforma en una acció de formació. Un taller on aprendre de primera mà com crear i publicar un 3D de la màxima qualitat. Mirarem el futur fent arribar als nostres infants i joves aquesta nova manera de descobrir el patrimoni molt més immersiva i interactiva. Ens aliem amb el sector educatiu per crear activitats i que les escoles i instituts s'introdueixin en aquesta nova tècnica. Giravolt no té límits. Els models 3D es publiquen en llicències obertes Creative Commons per arribar a tothom de forma gratuïta i promoure tots els usos, des dels científics fins a la creació contemporània de noves formes d'art. La G de Giravolt simbolitza la innovació i els nous punts de vista que a partir d'ara pot tenir el públic sobre el patrimoni. Amb Giravolt s'inicia una nova era per al nostre patrimoni cultural. Comencem a capgirar-lo perquè tots en puguem gaudir com mai abans ho havíem fet. Giravolt. Viu el patrimoni català en 3D.
Okay, this is a very quick view of our work, and this is our gallery of different models, art, archaeology, different architecture, whatever, religion, even spaces, as we will see in a minute. Okay, we have also buildings scanned in which we can move freely on the inside and even get perspectives that are impossible in the real world, like this or from behind, and we can check all the spaces. Okay, we have a lot of objects scanned, and we can discover again hidden clues in these objects. These objects can be annotated and, for example, include some little text that explains what this object is about. We can also change the illumination. We can change the lights and see little details like these letters that are almost impossible to see in the real object. Then when we can change the light and see through it, we can make collections like this made for the International Women's Day. We have a lot of different possibilities with these 3D technologies. Okay, let me follow the presentation. We have seen what a cultural heritage 3D model can be. In our first line of action in the digital corpus, we have right now 66 published models. 71 are prepared to publish in the coming months, and we plan around 150 more models to come in this year. We are working right now with 27 different institutions. Most of them are museums, and we plan again to have around 20 more institutions coming to our project this year. As we have seen in the video, we work in a direct connection with the scanning and the people who is running the museums. We are doing workshops while we are working in the scannings, as you can see in the top photographs. And we are working too with some research projects in which we are helping to do some reconstructions. For example, in the center of the screen, you can see an old Iberian monument that has been destroyed many centuries ago. And we are making a virtual reconstruction of this model with the 3D pieces scanned and matched from one to another in virtual environment, or in the bottom side of the screen. We can see also a photograph of the virtual reconstruction of the Roman theater of Tarragona, based on the archaeological remains. We are working with schools too. We have a very interesting activity that it's called Despertar el Patrimoni, Awaken Heritage, in which we organize different activities in some monuments or architectural heritage venues in Catalonia. And last October, we ran around 30 sessions, and visitors with their phones can take some pictures and create 3D models from their own cell phones. They created more than 100 models. Obviously, the quality of these models is not the same that we are working with professional 3D modeling, but they are doing just with their phones or iPads. And this is working also with schools, as you can see in the right side. This is a student of 12 years that is 12 years old, that is making a 3D for a class project. And we also are encouraging the reuse of these 3D models of museum objects or architecture to do audiovisual or multimedia pieces. For example, this is the opening of the project that was held in the IDL Barcelona venue. This is a long video. I will show you only some itself. This is almost 200 square meters old. It's multimedia artist has created a multimedia piece from the 3D models of our project. And we can create an immersive experience that will run for different days. Next museum night, it will be running again. The program has been really successful in social networks. A lot of people has interaction with all the 3D models that had been published. And after that, I will want to ask you if you think that these 3D technologies are useful for tourism. I think that indeed these new ways of sharing cultural heritage attractions can be used by tourism, tourist managers.
Yeah, Albert, may I ask you just to a little bit speed up because our last speaker must be on 4:40.
This is my last slide. So,
thank you.
Okay. I think there is a very clear application for telepresence and virtual tourism, as we have seen. And while we can capture 3D models from our cell phones, I forecast, I see in the near future people sharing online their 3D captures from tourism or from special moments in the internet. And as an example, for example, this is a 3D capture of the first steps of a child, and this is done with a simple iPhone. And this is video, but 3D video. I think 3D will be around us in the coming years, and I think this is a really important technology for tourism. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Albert. Sorry for interrupting you. Now I would like to introduce our last speaker, Jan Doležal. And before I introduce him, please don't forget to post questions. So Jan gets his MBA with distinction from Harvard Business School, MCS, in cybernetics. He has been working 10 years as a consultant at McKinsey and has experience from several startups, currently leading travel tech startup Smart Guide. He's a strong problem solver with high energy, leadership, digital and technology skills. Jan speaks conversational Mandarin, has extensive international experience, and is a passionate traveler. His specialties are management consulting, business development, international project management, strategy, advanced data analytics, link operations, technology, telecommunications, network control system, energy efficiency, China, and Central Europe. Jan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alzbieta, for the introduction. Quite extensive. So I will then jump right into introducing Smart Guide. Smart Guide is a platform that turns every phone into a personal tour guide. And we are on a mission to turn every tourist into an explorer. I'd probably start with a question to all of you. I know it's difficult in this forum, but at least you can think about it, right? Like, which of these pictures do you think was taken before COVID-19 and which after? Well, you probably think that's very clear, right? But it's actually a bit more tricky. So the correct answer is that actually both of these pictures are pre-COVID. They were just taken at a different place of the Great Wall. So almost everyone would agree that they would prefer be on the right picture. Still, almost everyone goes on the same stretch of the wall in Badaling, which is on the left picture. And that's something that I spent lots of time thinking about. I have visited almost 70 countries, and traveling, let's say, some 15 years ago, Lonely Planet really was my Bible. It was a single guide for everything. I did not need really much more than a Lonely Planet guidebook, and then talking to locals. So here I'm standing in front of Taj Mahal, taking the same picture that is on the cover of the guidebook to India. But it had two problems. So firstly, it was very heavy. This is a picture of my friend cutting our Lonely Planet to China, so that we don't need to carry an extra brick in our backpack, and we just always threw away the chapters that we did not need anymore. But the second and bigger problem is that everyone followed it, and then everyone went to the same place. So if Lonely Planet recommended a nice, quiet spot to watch a sunset over a temple, soon it became the most spoiled place around. Now, fast forward 15 years, very few people still use these guidebooks, and now everyone searches for places to visit online. But the algorithms of TripAdvisor and Google, they prioritize the most popular results first. So again, everyone goes to the same places, and that's the outcome. Or at least this is what was the outcome before the pandemic started, and it will be once it is over if we don't change something. So overcrowding and packed tour groups had always been quite annoying, but COVID-19 really made them unacceptable. So nobody wants to mingle with crowds in a tour group now anymore, let alone touch an unhygienic audio guide. Many tourist attractions and destinations want to guide visitors better and safer, but they really struggle developing their own guide apps. It's costly, takes a long time, and it often fails. So that's why we built Smart Guide. Our app turns your phone into an engaging and safe personal tour guide. It guides you independently outside of the crowds, and kind of like a live guide, tells you interesting stories about the places that you visit. Also with augmented reality, so we also use the 3D models that I've mentioned before, and fully offline. So the tourists can really go at their own pace whenever it suits them, and instead of just looking at the phone screen all the time, they just put on their headphones and conveniently immerse in the stories, and as a result, they learn a lot more about the destinations they visit. But then our partners, the tourist destinations, attractions, and tour operators use our platform and content management system to digitize guides, really orders of magnitude cheaper and faster, and without any maintenance headaches. So in fact, even you can publish a guide and Smart Guide in just a few hours. The beauty of our model is that these B2B partners pay us for our guide as a service, a fraction of the cost that it would cost them to do it themselves. But they also promote their guide to their visitors, which brings free traffic on the platform. And we then keep such users and guide them in about 400 other destinations around the world. So I know many of you are from Catalonia, so let me show you how this works on a project we did with FGC, which is a train operator in Catalonia, who struggled with two problems. Their old audio system on a scenic train to Valdenuria could only broadcast information to travelers in one language, so their foreigner visitors were kind of clueless. And second, they did not really want their travelers to risk getting COVID from a live guide in a tour group once they arrived in the destination. So we basically solved both of these problems at once, and we also added historical videos when you are on the boring parts of the train journeys. You can watch the old steam trains. And then, when travelers get back to Barcelona, our virtual guidee shows them around Sagrada Familia, and they became smart guide users. Another example for our friends from Prague. So we've been working with the Prague State Tourism, for whom the biggest priority is to really get tourists outside of the main city center. And so we digitized 10 walking routes. And the really advantage of an app versus other guides is that we know exactly how travelers behave, where they go, what they like, how much time they spend there. And that really enables smart destinations management that was not possible before without all of this data. So, for example, we can see that the Germans visit Prague repeatedly, and they are very often looking for these hidden gems. We can see Czech tourists, they really want to avoid the top places like Charles Bridge. And maybe I'll do a big deep dive on Americans that are really disproportionately interested in the Jewish Quarter for some reason, but we see that they rarely ever go outside of the walking distance from the center. They don't take public transportation. So knowing all of this, we designed tours for them that bring them as a hook to a really spectacular Jewish cemetery that is at a little bit outside of the city center, and it's much quieter and cheaper to visit than the main Jewish cemetery in the center. And then once we get there, because we know what they are interested in, we get them hooked on, and we tell them, look, there is the TV tower, very extraordinary building, and here is a local theater where you can really understand a lot about the local culture. And this is where we would go for one of the best sunsets of Prague in a beer garden. And we basically make them spend their half day in a region of Prague or a district of Prague where they would normally not go, and they get much more authentic experience. So they love it, and it works. So we basically had 30% of the time of our users spent in these areas outside of the city center where they would normally not go, and we can exactly see it, how they follow these the recommended routes, right? If you give them something interesting and if you tell them interesting stories, almost every place can be quite exciting. And that's of course big impact when you think about it, like 30% less crowds. That means less COVID infections, but also it can effectively boost the capacity of the destination by 30% with the same level of crowdiness. Now, as you use the app, we really quickly understand what you like, and then we start giving you personalized recommendations. And now we plan to put an AI-based recommendation engine, kind of like Netflix, behind it. So we believe that the technology is really the key to making tourism more sustainable. So we crowdsource the content on the platform to have something interesting for everyone. Then use data analytics to understand the preferences of each tourist, and then machine learning to recommend different places to each individual. And that really then makes these experiences a lot more authentic for the tourists, and also promotes more even economic development of the destination. And of course, it makes the cities a lot more livable for locals. So COVID made our proposition even stronger. Smart Guide has grown 7-fold last year, and we now cover 400 destinations and more than 300,000 users, and won a number of awards. So now guiding is really undergoing a huge digital transformation that we enable. And we are opening up the platform to build the leading digital guide marketplace. So if you would like to take part, we have now a campaign running on Cedars. It's more than 83% done. So and it's possible to invest anything from like £10. So anyone can easily join. But then we also regularly employ students as interns. So just in case someone is interested and wants to put their studies in practice, we are looking for more students to join us. Thank you.
Elżbieta, you're muted.
Thank you very much, Jan. We had a chance to listen to exciting and inspirational presentations, and I hope that you have compelling questions. Some of them I have already in a chat, so if you don't mind, we will stay a little bit longer as actually planned, because of course the presentation and of course about the questions. So may I ask the participants, the speakers, to answer some questions. First question is from Eileen and is for Paul. Eileen said, I'm curious how far tourists from the cabin can be expanded, i.e. language used, worldwide access to home tourism, continuation after pandemic. Does tourism have plans for this? So Paul, if you are there, Paul. Looks Paul left, but he posted an answer, so I just need to find it where it is. Paul posted, hello Eileen, your question and my answer. Yes, we want to develop in different languages, English and French, and cover different places in Catalonia. So it was a first question from Eileen. And we have a question from Alice. It was a question to Richard, and Richard also posted the answer. So the question was, is this process of disrupting the monolithic concept of hotels only related to an advanced use technology, or is more about a new demand for tourism coming from a new generation? And Richard answered, I think it's both. I think we are not really bound to our offices and or school desks, so we can essentially live everywhere. So it's be less about tourism, but about experiences that will last over a much longer period of time. Not just the weekend trips then, but perhaps 2 or 3 months getaway. So we have also a question to Edgar from Alice. Was this multi-sensory box a spin-off for the lockdown period? Do you see this product as long-lasting as a pre-experience to attract tourists to come to visit the real destination? Edgar, please.
Yes, yes. In the beginning, as I said, it was just, something, it was to do something, for the lockdown. We didn't think of, further. But the truth is that as long as it was, available and it was on the market, we came across with the idea that it is very useful, for tourist, organizations and for marketing purposes, to let to know a destination before going, but not just as knowledge, to explain, okay, destination has that gets a photograph, but you can add value by so that the people can sense that. So yeah, and the idea is that we want to follow up with that idea, with project. The thing is that now we are looking for a third partner in order to develop, because our main our main activity is is presential, is to work in nature, and we would like to develop, but finding another partner for that. But of course, it has a lot of new possibilities for the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Edgar. Do we have some more questions
Elzbieta, I can jump in with one that was on YouTube from Marta, asking, how do we know people would like to use the virtual tours in terms that would bring profit? Some of my colleagues, she says, some of my colleagues and I talked and are more interested in experiencing it directly. So, and I think that might be able to be answered by a number of the speakers.
Okay, who would like to answer this question? I believe it was directed to Paul firstly, but any of you, if you would like to answer, what is your opinion about virtual tours? Does they make sense for the future?
I'm happy to take this one as well, because we do to some extent virtual tours, digital tours. And what we found out is that until now, I mean, most of the people actually who travel do not take paid tours, right? Like vast majority of people then just go by themselves. So, and there are good reasons why they don't go on a live guided tour. Sometimes it's because it's not flexible enough to, fit in their schedule. Sometimes it's because it doesn't fit in their budget, just because, for students or backpackers, these live tours can be expensive. And now increasingly when we ask people, it's because they are afraid of COVID, right? Some people are just not comfortable on a tour with lots of other people mingling from all around the world, which is pretty much the best place to contract COVID. And here, I believe that the digital solution has actually a proposition for an answer to all of these. So it's it's anytime, so it's convenient. It's much cheaper to deliver, so it fits any budget, and you don't get infected from your phone. You would have already got infected. So what we believe is that it actually really grows the market for people who take tours and introduces the tours to a whole new segment that otherwise would just explore by themselves.
Thank you very much. Nobody else can add anything? So there is also a question for Albert from Adenke. Hi, Albert. Thanks for your presentation. How can universities work with you?
First, just a note on virtual tourism. I don't know if I've understood well the question and the answer, but I think there is a major force in the coming years, that is this virtual tourism, as we have seen in one of the presentations from the coach. You can imagine the power and the extension of virtual tourism comparing with, I don't know, for example, one big sports like football or basketball, in which maybe 100,000 people is in the stadium seeing directly the match, but there is millions of people watching the match on TV or online. I think in tourism we will see something like that. We will see a lot of different virtual experiences led by someone in place, interacting with the viewers, but not as a crowd, but as a family or a group of friends or an individual, making personal connections. Amazon is there, Airbnb is there. They are trying to do some things and trying to do this kind of experiences, even shopping experiences online. I think there's something there, and I find really interesting also what Edgar has shown, this physical experience, but detached from the place. This I think we will see a lot of different new experiences combining physical senses and virtual connections. And I think we have a tremendous field of new things to come. And about universities, like Adenike has asked, we are working right now with different Catalan universities, but we are open to collaboration with universities from around Europe or around the world. Our goal is mainly to share the 3D technologies knowledge. So we are making, with different universities, we are making some individual projects. With one university here in Catalonia, we are working with some students to research in some color science for making the 3D models just as accurate as we can. With other universities, we are working with 3D artists, students that are making multimedia shows from the 3D models that we have published online that are Creative Commons licensed. So any student in any university in the world can download them and make whatever they want with them. But we can find points of contact with any university, trying to work with all the 3D technologies, from scanning to publishing or modifying or recreating or reusing the 3D models. If you have a project, just write us to our website, and we can find a project maybe.
Thank you very much. Here is a comment from Jonathan to Albert. Albert, yes, I think your project could be useful in tourism in the initial stage of marketing of location, and also allowing endangered tourist sites to be experienced without harming them. So I'm asking if there is any more question. If we don't have more questions, I would like to thank you to all participants. Thank you for joining us today. I believe the webinar brought you some new ideas for working in tourism in connection with information technologies. I would like to thank to our speakers for exciting and inspiring presentation, and to the Atlas team for enabling us to have such a great webinar. Thank you very much again. I hope we see us in the future. Stay or be healthy. Take care and goodbye. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much. Bye.